we're ready to shreddy. That's my new saying. Look how pretty that is. I think there are few things more comforting than a bowl of piping hot ramen. This recipe is a little bit different though, because we're cooking everything in the oven, which is going to give us a beautiful broth, pulled pork, and most importantly, some crackling. So speaking of that crackling, I've got a piece of pork belly here, which I've dried out in the fridge overnight. If you don't have time, just get some paper towel and dab it. And we're going to use a little serrated knife here to score it properly. Go against the grain of the pork, and don't go through all the way into the meat, and just score in about 1 centimeter intervals. And we're just going to get that pork into a deep roasting dish. I've got some dry skin, but Crackling loves oil, so just a bit of oil on top as well. And finally, just a bit of salt. Now I've got the oven at 220 fan forced, and that way we're going to have hot air pushing around, which is really going to boost that crackling. We're going to go in for about 30 minutes. Okay, the crackling already looks amazing, but now we're going to get into the sauce. First of all, just got some spring onions, and just chop them into battens. So I've got some whole cloves here, and you can just crush them quickly with your knife straight into the pan. And just some slices of ginger, just scatter those around as well. And then I've just got some KOMBU and BONITO. So KOMBU is dried kelp and BONITO is a smoked dried fish. If you can't get hold of these, just add a bit more miso paste. Straight into the pan. And some miso paste, and just carefully pour in some chicken stock, and try and mix in that miso paste at the same time. That way it's going to start to dissolve. I've got some soy sauce as our salty seasoning, sake, mirin, just a bit of sesame oil. And now just make sure that's all combined. And then finally, just a bit of hot water. The reason I'm doing hot water at the end, I want to make sure that no liquid comes into contact with the skin of the pork, otherwise we're going to kill the crackling. So just pour it in until it just meets the crackling. Okay, so I've reduced the oven down to 140 fan forced, and we're going to go in for about 2 hours until the crackling has crackled and we've got some beautifully tender pork. Crackling is crackled, obviously it's crackled. So while we're waiting for the pork, we're just going to get on to our quick pickle or quickle. I've just got some mixed radishes here, and we're just going to slice them very thinly. A bit of salt and sugar, some vinegar as well. Give those a mix together, and these can just sit around until the pork is done. Okay, so we're almost there. That crackling looks amazing. I'm just going to go in for the final 20 minutes. We're going to add our shiitake mushrooms. And then I'm just going to top up with some extra hot water as you need, but make sure again you don't go above the crackling. And back into the oven for the final 20 minutes. Okay, so we're almost done. That sauce is beautiful. We're just going to separate that crackling from the pork, and then we're going to be able to shred the meat. So just get a knife and just work your way under, and you'll quite easily be able to pull it off. Look at that beautiful pork. It's already so tender, and you're just going to need to take 2 forks and pull it away from the bone and into another dish. Okay, so I've got my ramen production line here. First in with some ramen noodles, then with some of that beautiful pulled pork. This broth has so much flavor in it. I've just got some soft boiled eggs here, crucial to a good ramen. Top it with some of those pickles. I've cut up some of those spring onion greens so they can just go on top. And just some seaweed sheets and that crackling. This is where we do the noise test to see if we've crackled properly. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna have some of this already. A few decent pieces of that crackling. A few toasted sesame seeds. You could leave these out as well, but they make it look really beautiful. And I like a bit of heat, so just a few drops of chili oil. There is so much flavor packed into this bowl. I can't pick up chopsticks. There is so much flavor packed into this bowl, I'm going to dive straight in. For this recipe and more, head to delicious.com.au. Very, very good. Should I use some more?